Chan or Baka, or even maybe all in Minpoike. We'll have to see how they decide to navigate the waters in this one as the gates are about to open for the first game of the day. Channel on that Warlock is just such an absolute monster, placing his portal in the middle of the map. So if he does get gripped in, he could just portal away. And it seems like this TSG wants to take kind of a conservative approach to the match.
Yeah, we can see them back behind the pillar, likely a death grip strategy. Double Shadow Fury, Chaos Bolt right away, but they're just going to line of sight, grip the Shaman, and hodge him behind the pillar. So very defensive stance. It looks like Baka was able to trinket and get back in line of sight of Minpoike, but this is something now they're going to need to consider. They're going to use Baka and kind of throw him in here and try and thunderstorm them off the pillar, and that's exactly what they're going to do in this position. And Chanimal actually secures a fear onto Bruce. This could be an opportunity. They're popping heroism, Lava Burst swap. Looks like they're going after Bruce. That's a one-hit wonder, and Divine Shield immediately from Bruce to respect that heroism pop. Now the hexes are coming through. Gargoyle going to trinket out of that one to try and get back to the pillar for a death grip. And really, I feel like as long as Baka's in a good position here, if he gets a pre-bop on the grip or something like this, they're going to be in a great position to swap to Bruce again.
Yeah, it looks like Baka is just going to sit back. He doesn't want to get gripped. Oh, immediate portal there. And that's the thing, right? Like if Chanimal gets gripped in, he could just portal to the middle of the map. So he's covered. And if Baka gets gripped in, you're going to be immediately met with a Shadow Fury. So Chan is basically able to save the day in both ways. Right now, casting out a Chaos Bolt. You can see Gargoyles isolate. He's caught into a coil. He is really far away and could just get dropped. Icebound Fortitude is going to be used. Bruce gets silenced there by Chanimal just to slow down some of that healing. But it looks like Gargoyle should be okay with the anti-magic zone in the core. Going to be popping his own Gargoyle right now. Getting really aggressive here on the Baka. Can they take him down? He needs some peels. He's just going to be in Ghost Wolf trying to kite away, trying to connect some heals. Here is Minpoike. Looks like he should be able to with the freedom, with the knock. And it seems like their team will be able to stabilize, but that was a really good push.
All right, nice push here. Gargoyle going to force some pressure, but Lava Burst flying in still. Now onto Tractor as they're trying to duck around the pillar, getting caught up in snares. Grip on Baka behind the pillar. Hammer of Justice, but he squeaked in line of sight to get dispelled. Triple Shadow Fury. Fear setup. Bruce is going to get feared off the pillar. They could swap to him with the Lava Burst. Oh, but the fear ends up breaking a bit early. They're going for the Rocket Gloves. They're going anyways. It's a solo kill from Baka onto Bruce potentially. He's down below 30%. He's rooted behind the pillar. Aura Mastery, Flash of Lights. He manages to stay alive. Huge corpse explosion here onto Chanimal. And Minpoike actually taking a bit of a beating from that redirected sacrifice damage. Goes for Hammer of Justice. Another triple Shadow Fury from Chanimal. Setting up a fear here. Hex onto the Death Knight. Trying to get control of the DPS. Trying to find a moment to pivot onto Bruce, but they're not looking stable. Baka's in trouble. Minpoike, is he going to trade at the Blessing of Protection here? Baka is so low. Minpoike is confidently just healing with Flash of Light, but it's costing him a huge amount of mana to keep healing through this damage. A root onto the Death Knight. A swap over. They got to break through that anti-magic shield. They're Chaos Bolting into it. They've cracked through the anti-magic shield, and Tractor is still low. Double Shadow Fury on the left. Lava Burst incoming onto the Warrior. Enrage regen, trying to heal up a bit into defensive stance, likely popping the shield wall here as well in this position, and they do manage to stabilize in this position. It's Minpoike who may need to consider drinking, and Baka and Chanimal need to position back, and Minpoike is trying to. They're charging out into midfield onto Chanimal. He's going to port back away from the fight here, but Minpoike is struggling, and I'm curious to see the next time he's got Divine Plea. It's 14 seconds away, maybe 13 seconds away. They got to set that up. Shadow Fury, though, maybe it doesn't matter. They might just get the kill on the Gargoyle. Incinerate flying through the sky, almost going down. I cannot believe he didn't die right there. Is he still just going to die? Anti-magic shield is down for him. Is he going to be able to stay alive with this? Now a coil onto Bruce. Do they have any follow-up out of it? It doesn't look like it. Bruce is finally free from crowd control, but the damage is just endless.
Yeah, it definitely is, but it looks like Gargoyle will retreat to the pillar. Bruce's mana is not looking good. They're actually able to grip him in. Tractor almost gets one shot there in the open. Beautiful grip, but that Blessing of Freedom from Minpoike will allow him to escape, and they are closing in. Shan and Baka, they want to end this game. They're pushing in behind the pillar, trying to get the damage out. One Lava Burst lands onto Tractor. Can they take him down? A silence from Chanimal, and this is a bit of a split strategy coming in here. If Bruce can somehow stabilize, I don't think this is going to be easy. He's just spamming out Cleanse, doing what he can, down to 30% health. Holy Shock, getting a big heal. Still just playing at the pillar, needs to connect to heal, but it gets Wind Shear. Beautifully done there by Baka. Somehow, some way, they're still in this game, but I think it's almost over. And reduce healing, that's where they can really force Minpoike to burn through a lot of mana. So it's going to be all about uptime for Gargoyle and Tractor. If they want to go for kind of more of an aggressive strategy here, we'll see what they decide to do, charging to the middle right away. And it looks like they are just going to be hitting Baka, who's really close to the center tomb right now, going for potential Hex. And if they can land those Hexes, I think that's going to be massive for Baka. So look out for that in the match if he's able to land them.
Ooh, double Shadow Fear already sending the rocket gloves onto Tractor here. Anti-magic shield is going to get dropped down as well as Enrage Regen. A lot of cooldowns, but that was because of the full hex. This is heroism. They might even be able to blast through these defenses if they're able to connect the Chaos Bolt and the Lava Burst at the same time. Here comes a huge combo of damage, and it's lights out for Tractor. BWG going to be taking the first series of the day, 2-0.
And we'll start to see which one of them does decide to pull ahead here in this matchup, as it looks like we do have this team pushing into the middle of the map, really taking an aggressive stance. We got an early Hammer of Justice, gets cleansed off. Beautiful, intimidating shout going to be landing there. Torsten able to get out of that, and Wingball taking the majority of the damage at this point in the match.
Well, they're just stacked up right now. This is going to be devastating for both sides. The Thunderstorm comes through, knocking them away from Wingball, but they're immediately going to be able to reconnect here. And it looks like Black Betty was free casting for a moment, but Wingball is going to charge towards him. But he's just taking a beating, a full hex onto Torsten. Every hex is going to put your team so far behind here. Wingball is just struggling at half health. Might have to use the shield block in this position with them dogpiling on top of him. He gets knocked back into the midfield, tries to charge back here onto Black Betty as his healer is in the back line, posted up and healing. Divine Plea has already been used for Choco, so he's going to be ahead on mana. Sumi's going to need to find an opportunity to use that because mana is going to be really important in a matchup like this. The longer that he waits, the less Divine Pleas he's going to get. But if he activates it at the wrong time, his healing is going to be reduced and his team could die. Or she gets Stoneclaw Totem stunned here for a moment, moves back behind the pillar, trying to keep up the Judgment of Light as well. But a double Blade Storm is coming through here. Massive damage from Wingball. A good opportunity to counterattack. I love that cross crowd control to deny the disarm for a moment there. It got some nice damage out, but now Wingball is once again on the back foot, caught inside of a stun. Is he going to go down here? They've got cooldowns to trade. It would be a massive blunder for him to fall. Hammer Justice on DR does get cleansed up. He's at 30%. He's into D-stance. He's got sword and board up, trying to tank the hits and recover. But it seems like Choco and Black Betty's team, they've got momentum and they're continuing to snowball it.
Ooh, Black Betty taking a huge hit of damage though, and he could fall behind so fast. He's going to be at 50% health, just trying to get out of line of sight, trying to recover. Give his Paladin just a moment to breathe, tossing in some heals. Both these healers are burning through their mana relatively quickly at this point, both down to about 50%. Wingball down to half health. Once again, with that sword and board, just having to play so defensive in the match. The full hex lands once again. Black Betty doing such an incredible job with those hexes. Wind Shear on Sumi, just an excellent job into a Hammer of Justice, and Wingball could easily fall down to 15% health. Finally, some heals connecting, and Sumi stabilized, getting to keep him alive. He's just so far on the back foot. He can never recover. The intercept comes in. Mortal Strike is down, and these heals are doing nothing for Sumi. He just can't recover. Finally, connects the big heal, and this is where their team needs to start getting some pressure because they have just been so far on the back foot in this matchup so far. And look at Sumi's mana. It is not looking good.
Yeah, I don't know. His Divine Plea, I mean, unless I've missed it, I don't think he's been able to use it. He just needs to heal the whole time, whereas Choco, I think he's gotten 2 Divine Pleas so far. We've seen 2 hexes from Black Betty. That's putting their team ahead. Right now, they're trying to turn it around with cleave damage. You can see triple pressure, but Torsten getting swapped to Blessing of Protection. They're trying to purge that off as soon as possible. Double Blessing of Protection onto both sides. Queener is now suddenly low out of nowhere. Are they going to manage to pull this out at the last possible second? Queener still critical low. Wingball low. Full hex onto Torsten. Baka carrying right now. Divine Shield from Sumi to break out and break free and try and heal through the damage, but he just can't handle it. Wingball is so low right now. Sumi's trying to pull off a miracle. Triple Fear comes out from Wingball, trying to stall a stun onto the Shaman, trying to slow down the damage. And they've actually managed to stagger it enough that they are at least still alive. And they've actually somehow evened out the mana at this point. Unbelievable, but they're still in shambles despite evening out the mana. Can they stay alive a little bit longer to keep it going? Sumi tops up, and now Torsten is low. He grounds the Lava Burst and manages to stop a huge amount of damage. Now he's fishing for a hex. He baits the grounding totem. He kills off the grounding totem. He goes for the hex again. He's got to fake a wind shear. Is he going to get this hex? He gets wind sheared on the hex. He's trying to go for it again. He's going to find it. And it looks like Black Betty is going to be rooted, but Sumi is just dying behind the pillar to Queener. In the meantime, he's got nothing to save himself. He line of sights a Thunderstorm, knocks the enemies away. He gets hodged though. That Hammer of Justice from Choco. Choco's going for the kill. That Exorcism and Hammer of Wrath will seal the deal. So if Torsten and Sumi and Wingball don't keep it going up here, it's going to be rough for them. They're immediately just taking into the center of the bridge, and that's the most chaotic point of the map. Let's see if the Hammer of Justice immediately going on Queener, instantly dispelled though, so nice dispel here from Choco in the back line. And we can see Black Betty repositioning. We see Torsten repositioning in the middle, trying to get like that angle for a knock possibly on one of the warriors. You got to be careful with that little lip on the side, but Queener is actually on the back foot in the early stages of this match with the stun on the Black Betty. Is Queener just going to fall over? There's the Thunderstorm knocking Torsten far away, and Sumi, Torsten, and Wingball, they're going to abandon ship. They're jumping off the bridge rather than getting separated and isolated, they're going to focus on staying together as a group on the bottom side, but giving high ground advantage means that they're going to get poked by the elemental shaman more freely. And I do just wonder, are they going to come up immediately, or are they going to maybe just rebuff and get their totems on the bottom and try and get an edge that way?
Looks like they want to play on the top side once again, but I don't mind that. I mean, if one of them does get knocked, like kind of regrouping as a unit, recovering, getting your mana back, getting your summer cooldowns back, definitely not a bad strategy. Also, just want to give a shout out to production for getting those nameplates up.
Yeah.
Taking care of, those issues right as they come. So big shout out there. Queener taking a huge hit of damage right now. At the same time, Wingball getting swapped to in an intercept. He gets knocked away, but immediately intercepting back. So not really getting that much value there. Black Betty gets interrupted, and right now Choco is going to have to throw out the Blessing of Protection. So trading out big cooldowns. That was a huge hit of damage, but a full hex does land. Very nicely done there by Black Betty, trying to reverse the pressure here onto Wingball. Actually, potentially going after Sumi.
All right, let's see if the swap to the Paladin is going to work out. Sumi gets behind the pillar. They're not able to stay on target. Torsten popping the heroism here. Lava Burst casted. It looks like it got spell reflected by Queener possibly, though. And without that Lava Burst, he should be all right. Just spell out the Flame Shock. He's going to fall behind. Chain Lightning. Just, another Lava Burst. How much damage is he going to find here? Gets grounded, I think, by Black Betty. So Torsten's burst is just getting denied heavily. But even with the burst being denied, they're stacked up and getting cleaved by Wingball. Choco trying to recover through it. Sumi and Choco's mana a lot closer here in game number 2. Black Betty gets a knock, but immediately reconnected to with that intercept. Wingball is still all over him. They don't have that Blessing of Protection. Choco repositions in the midfield not to stack up, trying to power through with the heals, jumps down, gets the Dispel. They're swapping to Sumi on the bottom side of the bridge. Is he ready for this hit? Intervene from Wingball, but he's getting crit hard down to 10%. Intercept stun. This can be Divine Shield. Does he have it? He's up for Barons. He's going to Divine Shield and line of sight and try and avoid any potential breakers here. Hex being casted, gets out from Black Betty onto Torsten, trying to put him behind. He actually decides to trinket out and trying to purge off the heroism here and get ahead of the damage. Now fishing for a Hex himself, gets wind sheared on it. Fear onto Torsten. They're actually going to bop the Fear, which means they won't have that for personal defense in the future, but they need to get something done with this Blessing of Protection onto their Shaman. Thunderclaps out from Queener, trying to reduce the damage of Wingball while he's disarmed. Really good min-max there. We see a charge into Black Betty. Queener charges the charge, trying to put the Warrior behind, get him into D-stance, get him into Sword and Board, and stop some of the damage. But Queener's actually still falling behind. Spell Reflect comes out from Queener. He's going to charge over to Sumi and try and reconnect into a Hammer of Justice, and actually just decides to line of sight, maybe attack Sumi a little bit with that rest of the Hammer of Justice. Now they're rooted behind the pillar. Mana is actually in favor of Sumi at this point. It's looking like a good game for them in terms of efficiency. They just need to make sure they protect Sumi.
Yeah, definitely. He's going to be the most vulnerable target here. Black Betty and Queen are going to be knocked away. Nicely done there by Torsten. Can they connect the damage? Look at Sumi. He's in the open right now. Very swappable, but playing safe at that pillar. Just going to be spamming out the cleanse, trying to stay ahead of the damage, casting a Flash of Lights, interrupt there onto Choco, and Wingball falling further and further behind. Sumi's going to have to burn through some of that mana, and Choco actually did a really good job. He got the plea off, was able to recover some of that mana, and has put his team far ahead in that regard. Sumi realizing he's such a vulnerable target here, just going to be playing close to that pillar, and I think the positioning has been really, really good for their team. And it's kind of funny that these teams just, they don't want to play with the knock anymore. This is just the new map, this single pillar at the bottom. Just going to be using that to avoid damage and try to connect. Wingball right now at 50% health, caught into a root. Sumi, though, he's kind of isolated. They've managed to connect to him. Big intercept going to be landing. If they can land the purges and get the freedom off. See right now, Black Betty is all over him. Sumi just in so much trouble. This could easily be the round. It could be the point. Can they take him down? Still cleanse after cleanse. Queener has been left behind, though. Be really, really careful at the same time. The Wingball gets swapped too, trying to reflect, does manage to reflect the Lava Burst. That's massive for his team. He's able to stay alive, but I don't know if Sumi's going to be able to recover in this position, Sid.
He's in Sword and Board, Enrage Regen, trying to help out. They've got Elemental Mastery here. Torsten could go for a one-shot. If he's able to connect it, maybe he could just blow somebody up here in this position. They're really going to need a big hit of damage. He gets a Hex on the Black Betty. That could set up Torsten to connect a lot of damage in the near future. As we see these improved hamstring procs onto the Warriors. The intercept over Black Betty gets knocked away. Intercepts back onto Queener. Both Warriors targeting each other down at the moment. And there's that Elemental Mastery trying to go for the one-shot. Doesn't look like he connected too much damage, though. It's Wingball finding behind. And Sumi, he's got 0 mana. If he Divine Please right now, he's going to die. I think he's just going to die no matter what he does. His decisions are so limited. His entire team is being cut down and will be totally mowed down here by Black Betty, Choco, and Queener in game.
I'm just going for a Paladin all in, just getting crowd control onto Lurker can be something that they definitely do. There's Nova, Deep Freeze Lurker, put him in polymorphs, and just go after the Paladin in kind of an all-in fashion. Is something that they can do. Let's see what Avisura decides to do. And he land a sap in the match. He's going to be sprinting in. It looks like he's just going for a cheap shot. So he gets a cheap shot on Targo. See, it's going to be a cheap shot into a fear. Now they're making a swap onto the Hunter. Deep freeze right now. Beautiful crowd control. And this is the kind of isolation you want to see. That's going to be a trinket coming in from Targo to keep his warrior alive. So you get some cooldowns out of the way. Not that much damage. Tybor does manage to survive. But at the end of it all, they do get that trinket from Targo, which I think is, at least a decent opener for their team.
Oh, they got evasion from Avisura, at least one of the evasions here, so definitely an important counter push onto him. Shockwave DR, but bursting him down anyways in a scatter. Is he going to go down? He was trying to eat the freezing trap, does duck on top of the freezing trap and eat that crowd control, but that was the preparation. That was the second evasion, so Avisura is going to be in a tough spot here if this Shadow Dance in 20 seconds doesn't net a kill. He does get disarmed before the Shadow Dance. That could give him a big opportunity. He's still got blind. Polymorphs on the Targo. Cheap shots are coming out. Poly on the Lurker. Fear on the Targo. Great crowd control coming out from Gekko laners and Avisura, and Tibor is in trouble. Down at 20%. Trying to disengage away from the fight, rooting up Gekko with that snake trap, going for a freezing trap out of the scatter, manages to get the freezing trap. Now Avisura getting critically low with not much left. I don't think Gekko's going to escape. That pain suppression doesn't even look like it matters. Shadow Dance comes out from Avisura in desperation, trying to turn the tides, but I think he's going to be going down as Gekko is just endlessly crowd controlled. What a near shields preemptively for his team, trying to buffer as much of the initial damage as possible. The gates have opened, and we can see Tibor charging in right away, going for a flare, trying to find Avisura. They don't find him. They get combat with the pet, of course. Polymorph onto the pet from laners. So here's the scatter trap. Laners blinks
nice.
to eat the freezing trap, and so important. Every freezing trap could be a powerful, but Avisura actually decides to evasion anyways. Maybe he's just trying to premature, but the pre-deterrence from Tibor here might not even matter as the kidney shot connects, as it looks like he is going to break free from that. Gets dismantled, trying to reposition. Shockwave onto Avisura. He's caught in a flare. He can't vanish inside of that. He's trying to reposition Polymorphs onto the Hunter. They're trying to desperately move away from the engagement, but he's caught into a fear. And this is a pain suppression onto Avisura, but pain suppression last game and even this game doesn't seem like it's doing too much. Avisura is just dying to Overlord behind the pillar. He gets back to Gekko, but a disengage from Tibor to reconnect. He gets cheap shot from Avisura. They're trying to turn around. Deep freeze onto the warrior. Kidney shot connects. Targo pre-sacrifices. They purge the sacrifice. They get the fear. And Targo does actually get out of that, but now into a full polymorph. Is he going to divine shield? That's the second evasion. Both teams running slim on cooldowns. MD on the divine shield of Targo. Both teams are exposed at this point. It's still anyone's match.
Yeah, definitely. Laner's just going for Frostbolt. After Frostbolt, he gets interrupted there. We'll see Tybor doing a really good job. They can land that full trap onto Gekko. Let's see if they can do it. Avisura actually gets a clean restealth. That's massive for their team. If they can get a clean opener here, they might be able to close out the game. They need the win if they want to stay in it. And we can see right now what they decide to do. It's going to be a full blind on Lurker, Polymorph on Targo. Tybor right now in a little bit of trouble. He's gotten to the cheap shot. Massive damage coming in. Can they take him down? Looks like they might be able to. He's just so low right now. Sap right now onto Targo. Can they do it? Frostfire Bolt coming in. They just cannot connect the damage. Absolutely heartbreaking. And they turn it around. They managed to get the cheat death on Avisura. Can they take him down? He goes for a desperation. Cheap shot, full kidney shot, Polymorph onto Lurker. Avisura in defiance right now. Can he actually pull it off? I cannot believe that this Hunter is still alive, and Avisura can't believe it either. That just might be the game. There's a beautiful Fear incoming. Can they land the stun? He's isolated. Look how far away he is. At the same time, Avisura is in trouble. Disengage away. Avisura wants to land the stun if he can get that kidney shot. Oh no, it's a 2-second kidney shot. Is that going to be enough to take him down? Polymorph does land on Targo right now, but it looks like Lurker is there to back him up. And this is going to be a lot of offense incoming from this warrior, but looks like Tybor may have finally ran out of time. How is he still alive? This Hunter is playing out of his mind, and Avisura goes down. I mean,
P, and will Gekko be able to buy his team enough time to find that line to victory?
His team's going to have to support him as well. He's not going to be able to do it alone. So Laners moves in, gets the Frost Nova. They get a sap on Bruce, and they are going after the Death Knight. Big silence, huge shatter combo as they get basically a picture-perfect opener. Bruce gets sapped into a full Fear Gargoyle in basically a 1 versus 3 situation. Nobody has been able to move their character yet. A Deep Freeze comes in. Bruce now gets Kona Cold away into another polymorph. This is an absolute nightmare. XD just putting on a clinic here for how RMP is supposed to be played, but Gargoyle weathers the storm, pops Gargoyle of his own, and Avisura is somehow dead in a random turn of events. Let's see if Gekko can actually keep him alive. He's trying to cut away. Gargoyle in the middle of the map, though, getting blasted here by laners. And a divine shield from Bruce. He's trying his best to actually get our heals with that Master Spell coming in absolute clutch, but somehow Avisura is just dead.
feels Rogue Man right now, and Rathalishkin just looks like he's made out of paper, trying to kite away, gets stunned on his evasion here as they are connecting. Is he going to be able to escape the overpowers of Tractor and avoid death in this position? He has managed to get a bit of distance here, but Laners is just getting destroyed by Gargoyle now. In the meantime, is he going to solo force Ice Block onto Laners? Death Coils are coming out, they're connecting. Penance comes through, Laners gets top, but Geku is now low. He gets Mind Frozen on his cast, but Tractor goes down, and Geku just needs to stay alive a little bit longer. Gargoyle into the gouge. They're pausing the fight, pausing the damage for Geku to recover while he sits through that stun lock, and they have managed to weather the storm and survive, taking game 1.
I mean, I'm really surprised.
Final resting place, as this is a best of 3 matchup here for them. And it looks like Laners and Geku, they're positioned in the room here off to the side, trying to make sure that Avisura can find some crowd control in the start of this. And they see that, and they're retreating away, trying to get in their own room, maybe with a Death and Decay on the door to protect from getting sapped. We see the Consecration. Both teams trying to make sure that they can get the best opener possible. Avisura going to play close to the door. Laners taking now to center tomb. Geku pushing up as well. And this kind of been a common strat for teams against RMP, is just turtle in the room with AoE on the door. Now they're sending the pet in. That little Gargoyle is a heroic Gargoyle right now, Ghoul. He's going to be getting combat.
Come on.
He's going to be getting combat for his team here, running in, and as soon as they can get that combat, it's going to definitely be a lot better for them for this matchup overall. And Gargoyle's actually wearing 2 one-handers here on the Death Knight, so maybe he's getting like a little bit of extra resil from doing that. Curious to see how that ends up playing out for him, because I feel like you normally are wearing a 2-handed weapon as an Unholy Death Knight. So we see him moving towards the midfield. They got combat, they're charging in, they're on their mounts, they're rebuffing, they're getting ready for the push and the fight. Geku Laners, they run away from it. They really want to get this sap, man. And Gargoyle and Tractor is like, oh, well, I guess we can't go. We're gonna get sapped if we push in.
The difference between winning and losing could literally be the sap. Like, you saw what happened to Avisura when they were perfectly crowd controlled. The Gargoyle just like soloed them in the match. So if they do not get a good opener, then I feel like it's going to be really tough here for the side of XD. So they're going to play it patient. I mean, literally getting a good opener can be the difference between winning and losing. The game could be decided in just a few opening moments of the match. So playing it out really patient. Avisura actually does manage to get the sap. Who are they opening up on? Looks like they're going after Gargoyle once again, a very early
IBF.
Yeah, IBF as well as that anti-magic shell, and it looks like they might. Are they going to go after the Paladin? Let's see what they decide to do. No, they're going after the Death Knight right now. Kidney Shot does land. They get basically every defensive cooldown that Gargoyle has available, but he does manage to survive.
All right, surviving the initial stage of this fight. Now switching to the 2-handed weapon. So Gargoyle wanted that extra stat value with those 2 one-handers for the stun log. He's going to be weapon swapping, but Avisura's fallen behind just to Tractor alone, down to 60%. Gargoyle into a polymorph. Laners is trying to pause the fight, buy time. He's got a Frost Nova on the Warrior, Poly on the Death Knight. Kona Cold's coming out. Really good control from Laners right now, but here comes the Gargoyle from Gargoyle. And if they can't deal with this here, with a counterspell or something, it's going to start doing a lot of damage. We can see those green balls of death flying in onto Laners. He blinks in aggressively towards the Paladin, going for a deep freeze, trying to get a polymorph, but Tractor's all over him, and he's not going to find it. And Avisura is getting crushed. Cloak of Shadows dying through it. Might have to vanish as well. He's so low right now. Penance is coming up from Geku, and he's actually staying alive. I cannot believe they're not trading Pain Suppression or Vanish in this position. Avisura is just so low at this point, and he's just not topping. They grip Geku in, get the Chains of Ice on, trying to snare him, trying to prevent his cast. Intercept connection. Avisura goes for the Shadow Dance. They probably just need to win the game right here, but Gargoyle trinkets out of the stun and avoids the Shadow Dance, but there's a full polymorph. Can they take Gargoyle down? Laners gets interrupted. Avisura gets stunned up. Avisura is actually dying on their own push. He's dying through a Penance at the moment here as Geku's trying to reposition, but his mana, it's so low. They've got a blind, but there's still a Divine Shield for them to get through onto Bruce, and I would say this is not looking good right now for XD. They get an Ice Block from Laners.
Yeah, definitely not. Geku is almost completely tapped on mana at this point in the game, down to 20%. Avisura, can he get a re-stealth? Looking for an opener right now. He shadow steps in, trying to go after Gargoyle, but Laners is in so much trouble. He's on hypothermia. He has an ice block, but unfortunately unable to use it at this point in the match, and Geku is forced to trade out the pain suppression. That means he doesn't have it available for Avisura. We get a blind on the Tractor. He gets Blessing of Protection on that. Laners just on death's door right now. 10% health, going to be blinking away.
Oh no, Geku.
He's got evocation, but unfortunately not able to recover his health. Geku getting swapped to, and this is just absolute domination here by this TSG. Everyone is dead. Can they somehow manage to recover? There's no way. Geku gets dropped, and Bruce, that's going to be, the real win. If the Gargoyle is the only one that's making those trades, I feel like that is going to be, a big win there for the TSG. But they decided to just go in. They get combat. So I like this. Instead of sitting back, they just get really, really aggressive, mixing it up, mixing up the positioning. Gargoyle is moving in, And this is just such a better start, but a beautiful Fear here. Polymorph and Fear overlap here by Geku. Looks like Anti-Magic Zone will trade immediately here by Gargoyle. Very nicely done to deny that initial damage, but they're making a big swap on the Paladin. Frostbolt after Frostbolt. Master Spell comes in. Can he survive the silence? A huge all-in. And, I mean, they just turned that on their head. Beautifully done there. And as that Paladin, I mean, when you're in the middle of the map and you're fighting a, a Disciplined Priest that has Master Spell, there's really nothing that's going to keep you alive there. So that was just such a good situation for Avizuri, Geku, and laners, and they capitalized on it beautifully.
Yep, really good awareness to the situation there. Bruce is likely regretting his positioning there in towards the end of that game, considering how narrow the first two games were going for them. Maybe got lulled into a false sense of security, thinking like I can play more offensive because they've just been tunneling Gargoyle or something. And then they're just like, oh, hey, you're trying to get a Hodge there, buddy. Or you think you're going to get a Hodge there on our Priest?
Not today.
No, that's not happening. Just immediately jump on him and just murder him here in game number 3. So really well played here from XD. It's gonna be super important that they got a point against TS.
You're here, Polymorph and Fear momentum. They pretty much lose. So they're gonna need a really good opener here. Got to force cooldowns. Got to get either the Trinket or the Divine Shields from Bruce. That's gonna be the real win. If the Gargoyle is the only one that's making those trades, I feel like that is going to be a big win there for the TSC. But they decided to just go in. They get combat. So I like this. Instead of sitting back, they just get really, really aggressive, mixing up the positioning. Gargoyle is moving in, and this is just such a better start, but a beautiful Fear here. Polymorph and Fear overlap here by Geku. Looks like Anti-Magic Zone will trade immediately here by Gargoyle. Very nicely done to deny that initial damage, but they're making a big swap on the Paladin. Frostbolt after Frostbolt. Master Spell comes in. Can he survive the silence? A huge all-in. And, I mean, they just turned that on their head. Beautifully done there.
From what I've seen, so we'll have to wait and see if they can create those opportunities. Is Queener going to play this aggressively? They're moving into midfield, and it looks like Queener does want to play aggressively. You're going to start the fight from the mount and hold on to the charge and intercept for later times. You see Baka getting knocked back, and they are on the Warlock. It's so tough as a Warlock. So many interrupts. Spam Dispel on your Immolate to find opportunities to get damage. Oh, instant reconnect on that Thunderstorm from Queener. Baka trying to fish for a Hex, trying to get through some interrupts and a grounding totem before he's able to land it, but he does get wind sheared, and Channel's falling behind. He's on top of him, and Poike's trying to reposition away from him, so they're not stacked up. Chaos Bolt lobbed out onto Queener. This is going to get soaked by the Sacred Shield. Double Blade Storm. Chanimal looking choppable right now, but he does port away from the Blade Storm. Really keep positioning there, but now they're swapping him in Poike. He's not going to be able to portal just like Chanimal did, and he is just getting cut down at the moment. Lavaverse Elemental Mastery and Divine Shield will be forced. Insane swap on him in Poike here. Really good awareness from Black Betty and Queener, realizing they're not going to be able to chase the Warlock in that position, and they could get more from hitting the Paladin.
Yep, definitely a really nice swap there, and Minpoike might be playing really low resilience in this matchup, realizing that it could be a mana game. Queener getting swapped too, though, could easily get dropped. Big Shadow Fury coming in there by Chanimal. A Fear on Black Betty. He's not going to be able to help out Queener, who's just stuck in the middle of the map. Beautiful interrupt there, throwing on the two-hander once again, looking to get aggressive here onto Chanimal. And it looks like Minpoike's mana is doing completely fine at this point. Going to be using that Divine Fleet and a really good time. Full Hex on the Black Betty. Nicely done there by Baka, just landing that crowd control, isolating a target. And it really is, I think, Queener's going to be the main target in this match. So it's all about how he navigates his mobility, playing close to a pillar, maybe only pushing in when he has that spell reflect available and when his team is out of crowd control. But I think he's probably going to be the most vulnerable target in this match.
Queener trying to get some uptime, but Chan has been free for way too long. Look how much damage he's doing on the Black Betty right now. This incinerates the rocket gloves, but here comes the heroism from Black Betty. He's using it to heal. His team is in dire straits right now. As you see Minpoike lobbing in some exorcisms, trying to get some damage onto the warrior. Black Betty fishing for a Hex here, gets sheared by Baka. He's been having a really hard time getting crowd control out, trying to go for another Hex, not able to find it, but Queener is getting blasted, totally destroyed right now, holding on by a thread. How is Choco healing through this? He gets Shadow Fury, it's a double, but they do manage to recover, and Queener is back in the fight. Now Baka getting low. Queener's going to swap with the Blade Storm onto him. Is Minpoike ready for this Blade Storm damage onto Baka? How is he going to deal with it? He's just Flash of Lightning. He's gambling a lot right now to keep him up, and he's not going to gamble it any longer. His Blessing of Protection will remove that Mortal Strike effect and get Baka back up to full health, and now there's no Blessing of Protection for Chanimal, and they know it. They're immediately swapping back over to him as he does get Shadow Furied for a moment. Chan's trying to reposition. Shadow Flame trying to get a snare, possibly going to have to portal away here. Minpoike's on his port, and he does port back to Minpoike, but Queener intervenes over to Black Betty to reconnect onto Chanimal. Really Really good usage of that mobility. He's still down at half. MS is up. He's got Coil and Shadow Fury. Queener's getting blasted by Baka. When is Chan going to pull the trigger on these crowd controls? He's getting so low. He gets interrupted. He's down at 20%. Minpoike's trying to heal him up with that divine protection. Beautiful knockback onto Chan and Minpoike, disrupting those heals. And Minpoike just can't heal him, man. He's at 10%. How is he alive right now? Queener all over him again. Another Shadow Flame with freedom to get some distance. Really good coordination, but they swap off the freedom. Minpoike's got no bubble. Is he going to be able to survive the swap, Ven?
I really don't know. We'll have to see. He's down to 40% health. Can he get away? Beautiful hammer of justice onto Queener. Queener going to be charging over to Chanimal to slow down some of that damage. He's got no mana. He's going to have to life tap and take down his own precious health. He's going to use that portal to get away. If Queener does get on target, this is a nightmare for Chanimal. I don't know if he's going to be able to escape. A beautiful freedom. And Chanimal just has the best positioning of any lock in World of Warcraft. I swear this is the most difficult player on Warlock to take down. Going for some big Chaos Bolts right now.
Reflected on it.
Gets intercepted. Big damage. Beautiful reflect coming in from Queener. Can they take him down to 10% health? Having the life tap, but I think Chanimal has run out of time. Somehow he's still alive. And Poike just bombing in heals. Portal once again coming in from Chanimal to escape, and Queener just cannot believe. How are you not dead? How are you not dead? And now it's Queener hiding at the pillar. Gets knocked away there by Baka. And in desperation, trying to survive, but does get some heals here. That's the one added benefit for Choco, is he doesn't have to deal with that Mortal Strike effect, so can recover quite quickly. They make a swap onto the Paladin, but looks like Choco should be able to survive. He still has that Divine Shield. This is just such an immense amount of pressure from both of these teams. Beautiful triple Shadow Fury. Lava Burst, can it connect? It gets grounded. Nicely done there by Black Betty.
Oh, now fishing for a Hex, gets knocked on the Hex cast. Chanimal trying to avoid with Shadow Flame. These Shadow Flames have been so key. Queener gonna intercept back onto Chanimal, stop that Chaos Bolt, but now he's getting hexed up. He's getting snared. He's not able to get the pressure out. He's crowd controlled. Chanimal repositions back into midfield. Mana's looking dicey for both sides at this point. Just one huge lob of damage could decide it for either side here. As Chanimal goes for another Shadow Flame. He ports away. Queener gets dispelled on the Shadow Flame, gets knocked back away once again. Chanimal positioning behind the pillar, protecting his pet as well, so it doesn't die to any sort of swap or soul link damage. Really good positioning on his pet here, but his entire team is getting ravaged. And Poike just can't handle the damage at this point. They're swapping to a Blade Storm on him, and he's going to absolutely take him out here. Queener with amazing swaps here in game number 1 closes it out.
Black Betty, during that exchange, went down.
Any more mistakes in this series, they're going to need to make sure they keep their wits about them, keep their distance, keep those Shadow Flame port timings going so they can avoid the Warrior. But Queener, look at this, he's brutal, man. He's just charging in right away to get uptime. It looks like they're going to start the fight on Baka. Immediate dispels onto the Earth Grab roots of Queener. He's going to be getting uptime. So those Rocket Gloves lobbed out pretty early from Chanimal. Oh, Blade Storm right off the rip here. And Queener immunes the knock, but Black Betty cannot. He's off the side. And how are they going to navigate this? Queener's all alone. He spell reflects the Chaos Bolt, intervenes back to his Paladin, navigating that so expertly while Black Betty was off the side. He denied so much damage in that position with those maneuvers.
Yeah, definitely. Queener now making a swap over onto Chanimal, getting some pressure rolling. A beautiful intimidating shout. Going to be slowing down Baka. Hammer of Justice lands. Beautiful knock as well. Chanimal is just sent to the other side of the map. And if he has to use his portal to get to the top side, it's going to be difficult. But they do make a swap on him in Poike. He was the target that went down in that last match. Can he get away? He's getting purge spammed right now. If he can't connect that Blessing of Freedom, it's going to be difficult. He trades out the sacrifice, ultimate sacrifice, to stay alive and reduce some of that incoming damage. He does get rooted up as well, and this is just such an immense amount of pressure from Queener. They're all over the place. You can see Baka's low on health, Chanimal's a little bit low, Poike is taking damage, and they're just mixing it up, and that is the strength of this composition. And that Warrior, you can just kind of bounce around, hit multiple targets. It can be really difficult for Poike to recover. Black Betty might just go down in the early stages of the match, down to 20% health. Blessing Protection is going to trade. Can they purge it off? He's trying to line of sight. Looks like he will be able to recover, but just such a close call.
Oh, now Minpoike, he's still got Divine Shield, but Queener's trying to force it. He's right on top of him, chasing him upstairs, but he gets into a Hammer of Justice, dispelled immediately here by Choco, and Choco should be able to recover in the near future. Chanimal is just low to Elemental Shaman damage next to that pillar, but he's got his port behind him, I think, that he can escape if they swap to. So they're going on Baka instead. Black Betty getting low. Choco trying to recover. Divine Protection going to trade for him, redirect some damage, and stabilize the team. Baka is still getting low. Queener right on top of him throughout this entire engagement. Black Betty into a full Hex, though, so Queener will be alone. Shadow Fury from Chanimal. Rocket Gloves coming in. Lava Burst as well. Is Queener ready for the hit here? That Reflect hits a huge spell as he is holding strong. Blade Storm from Queener, getting them stacked up here, trying to go for the kill onto Baka. But this is heroism now for Baka, and this is going to enable a huge amount of damage potentially to interrupt the Lava Burst. Now he's free casting Lightning Bolts. He's going to get overpowered on a cast and reduce that damage, though. He's got to be careful with casting that much, I think, in front of Queener's face here. He's down at 30%, and Poike struggling even with Avenging Wrath up to get his team up through the pressure. Coco it has a really good position here at the pillar on the bottom side. side to be able to avoid crowd control and keep his team aggressive. They're trying to go after Chan, but they can't chase him. I don't think he's going to have to pull back away. He's chasing Chan. He's just going to port away. He's down at 40%, trying to meet Minpoike in the middle. He has to life tap, actually. Nice spell lock onto Choco on that bottom side. Now Chan has free casting spells from the top side. Huge damage onto Black Betty. Good opportunity to pull this back and go 2-2 in the series, but not enough damage just yet to close it.
Oh, definitely, but good position there by Chan getting to the top side of the map. You can see right now this pressure from the side of Chan and Baka is immense. Beautiful coil. Can they connect the damage to actually drop him? Roko in desperation right now, needs to try to survive, down to 10% health, but he catches a huge heal. Black Betty trying to help him out, eats some of the interrupts there by Chanimal, and Queener needs to start getting some damage rolling as he is now getting swapped. This is just such a battle of momentum. A beautiful knock, but Queener, I don't know if he's going to be able to make it out of it. Drained Soul being channeled out there by Chanimal. Queener intercepts it immediately. Really good presence of mind to stop that damage out. Big Chaos Bolt lands on Black Betty, but it looks like their team should be able to recover at the pillar. That was such a good push. Look at Minpoike, his mana is still doing so well. He's got such a prime position, like you shouted out, able to keep his team, nice and healthy in the fight, while also really mitigating any kind of swaps onto himself.
Full hex on Queener, slowing down the game, trying to win on efficiency here for the side of Baka, Chanimal, and Minpoike. As you can see, Queener recovered. That next Bladestorm, man, like who's he going to connect that onto? I feel like that's going to be where all the value comes forward for Queener. Here it is, Bladestorm onto Baka. Minpoike getting a Divine Protection, redirect some of the hits here onto Baka. Earth Grab, double Shadow Fury, good setup. Lava Burst, not able to find the cast Thunderstorm, but he gets Thunderstorm himself behind the pillar, trying to get back in line of sight of Minpoike, and does manage to navigate over there. But Choco, he's at the moment. He's going for Divine Plea, but his team is getting destroyed, so his healing's going to be reduced. Is he going to be able to heal through the damage at this point in time? He's going to pop the Divine Protection as well and redirect some damage onto himself here, trying to slow down the damage as much as possible, killing off some totems here as he's rooted, but he's getting drained mana at this point. I think it's just tap out at this point for them. They got absolutely nothing left in terms of mana. They're in shambles here, and they're just teeing off on them as we can see them in the middle of the map, free casting, Lava Burst after Lava Burst, Chain Lightning after Chain Lightning. They Hex Chanimal. They're desperately trying to slow down damage and buy any sort of opportunity for their team, but Divine Plea is 25 seconds away, and they still have 0 mana. Queener's at the pillar, trying to hug it for his life right now, but now having to charge in to save Black Betty. Grounding Totem's going to come down from him. He's caught in a Shadow Fury. That could be it for him. He's on the high ground. He's caught in a coil, and this is lights out for Black Betty here in game 2 as we see it tied up 1-1. Well, we'll have to wait and see exactly how they decide to play it out, but it's just positioning is so key. If you're in the wrong spot at the wrong time, it's over for you. And he's actually got his portal in the middle of the map. So he's going to be playing on the tomb and then porting midfield and maybe baiting the warrior for a big blast of damage. Channel sets up a Shadow Fury, trying to find a fear here because he did kill off the Tremor Totem, but he's not able to. And we see Choco into a Hammer of Justice. Good opportunity to blast Queener, but he seems to be doing all right, even despite that early crowd control. Gets a fear here. Baka managing to get the Tremor Totem down, getting his team free of that crowd control, repositioning up into midfield, getting on top of Choco. They're doing a Paladin swap as he gets caught into that Death Coil. Manages to just walk it off, though, as he repositions back at the tomb. And now Chanimal is falling behind, portals back into midfield, trying to line of sight Black Betty and trying to line of sight Queener's reconnect, but Queener does get the intercept and reconnects onto Chan here. He's still down at half. He gets a Shadow Flame, trying to go for an Immolate, trying to get some dots up, gets pummeled on the Immolates, and I think that's the name of the game, to slow down the Immolates. Don't let those big con flags come out, dispel them and pummel them, and just make Chanimal as useless as possible is going to be their main goal.
Yeah. Chanimal going to be taking a lot of damage right now if you can get off those freedoms, but at the same time, Queener taking a huge hit of damage. He's at the pillar. He could get some heals, but he's just going to charge in recklessly. He does not care. Down at 30% health. He does want to just reconnect onto Chan and get that Mortal Strike up, make it really difficult for Minpoike to actually recover here. But it looks like Chan is tanking the damage for now. We'll just decide to portal to the other side of the tomb. Going to be avoiding Queener for the time being, who doesn't have any mobility left, but they do decide to pop that Heroism now, finally connecting on a Chanimal, and it's going to be really important the Chanimal does not get any freedom value. If he gets a Blessing of Freedom, it needs to get purged off immediately, and if Queener can have uptime, this is going to be absolutely devastating here for Chanimal. He does manage to get away. A beautiful route there from Baka, backing up Chanimal, allowing him to kite just a little bit, but I feel like there's nowhere to run and hide. The Blessing of Protection is forced to trade to keep him alive, but at this point, they're running out of cooldowns.
Oh, instant dispel on the Shadow Flame slow. Queener's getting uptime. Channel starts to go for another one. A Conflag slow, trying to buy time. But here comes the Blades from Chan Ports. But he's just going to swap over to Baka. 2 targets are low. And Poike struggling to heal through the MS pressure of the Warrior as Queener going back into battle stance. Now swapping back onto Chan. Gets Shadow Fury'd up. Hammer Justice down onto Black Betty. They're trying to turn it around. Who are they going to go after, though? Choco's on the pillar. They can't swap to the healer, I don't think, in this position. They get a full Hex. But Chanimal, he's just not able to get damage out. These Immolates have been denied for so long. And now he's getting blasted. But Black Betty at the same time. Who's going to go first? Down first. It looks like Chanimal will be the first to fall, and Black Betty and Choco and Queener will be the first team to grab 2 series victories.